Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I've learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. And I haven't made a video on this channel in the last 2 or 3 days. I've been making my videos later in the day, and by the time that I get around to making a meditation video or just sitting down and doing a story over here or some life lesson or something, it's like late, and I'm like, you know what, I'll just do it tomorrow, and then tomorrow comes, and there's just never enough tomorrows, right? So I thought I would sit outside today. My husband is actually inside. He was supposed to go in and do some work stuff today, and he decided to stay home. So he is watching movies and just kind of relaxing, and he just made waffle fries. I'm watching it right now in the kitchen. He just made waffle fries and pizza rolls, and so I was like, babe, you cook, you do your thing inside and, you know, watch TV, and I will come outside and do my meditation. So it is beautiful outside today, isn't it? I just think it's so gorgeous outside. And I had said in the summer that I wanted to do more meditations outside, and now that it's fall, it's like, you know, I haven't. So maybe in the next month I'll try to sit out here more often. Like if I want to come outside and do a meditation, like one of my 2 neighbors is usually sitting outside, but neither one of them are out here right now. So I went and checked. I walked out there and I looked and I checked because, you know, I'm still camera shy. I really am. I know it's hard to believe, but sometimes when I get on camera, it's like, if they're sitting out there, I'll talk, but I'll talk like this. So anyway, I thought I would just get on here and I would look back at the last couple days from all of these meditation books. You're sitting on my patio table right now. As you can see, I'm sitting down here on the ground because I don't have something to put you on other than I do have this little tripod. So I have the books out here and I have my coffee already. And I have my sandals off. And let's just sit for a moment, I think, and just like kind of take in, you know, the sounds. And I often do this before I start meditating, as I sometimes just sit outside and just take it all in. Okay, let's go, and I'm just gonna randomly pick a book. I picked out this one. I just went in, and let me look at the last couple days and see what meditation. Oh, look at this picture. This picture is so pretty, isn't it? Today's let's see, changing seasons, being gifted compliments. Okay, let's do September 19th. Compliments. September 19th, compliments. I can live for 2 months on a good compliment. Mark Twain. We might not think a casual compliment means all that much, but consider how we feel after someone tells us we've done a good job. We look good today, or they admire one of our many fine qualities. We hold our head up a little higher, smile a little more broadly, step a little more brightly. When someone gives us a compliment, we tend to think better of them too. Clearly, they're smart and insightful. I enjoy it when someone gives me a compliment, and why not? It prompts me to give compliments as well. It's a really great meditation. I worked with this woman back in the day. She, to this day, is one of the most positive, caring, compassionate people I've ever met. And I remember, like, every day I would come into work and she would, like, compliment me about something. Like, oh, I like your sweater, you know, that you're wearing. Or, you know, like, oh, thank you, you know, so much for doing this. Or, you know, like, I don't know, your eyes look so blue today. It was always something every day, you know? And I just got always so excited about it until I realized that literally it was happening, like, every day. And I noticed that she did it to other people, too. And I remember asking her one time, I said, you know, you really seem to give out a lot of compliments. I think it's wonderful. And she said, I have a choice every day, you know, whether I want to give compliments to somebody and I want to pick out the good in them, or if I want to pick out the bad in them. I think we live in a society today where, and that's something I've really remembered too, you know? I think we live in a society today where we're constantly picking out the negative in people, you know? Instead of trying to see both sides, or instead of trying to look at somebody and pick out the positive, you know? I think in people that we interact with, and it's okay. I mean, there's gonna be, for all of us, there's gonna be people out there that just rub us the wrong way or we don't like and whatever, right? But maybe in interacting with people, if we all, you know, tried to pick out the good in somebody or to find something to compliment them about, instead of always going for what we don't like about that person, you know, what is it that we don't like about this person, and maybe finding something that we do like about them instead, it wouldn't just change how we feel about that person or our perception of them. It would really change the energy and the language with which we speak. And if you think about it, you know, like, to speak in kindness or compassion or whatever, in love, is a language of its own. And if you've ever interacted with somebody that speaks out of love, you can tell it's a language because you've probably also met people that speak out of anger and hate as well, right? People that are very miserable speak out of anger and hate. They're not happy within their own lives. We all know that, okay? It's kind of, at this point, you know, like a catchphrase analogy, right? Like when somebody puts out something bitter, you're like, oh, well, like they're miserable. Well, they really probably are, you know? I mean, in all honesty, at the times that I've been, you know, the angriest or whatever is when I am pretty, you know, like upset about something or I'm not happy in some situation in my life. I don't typically tend to respond out of anger and hatred when I'm super happy in my life. I just don't. And I think if we were honest with each other, you know, the reality is neither do you. Neither does most people. So when you're living in a place of peace and love, serenity, compassion, and kindness, you don't respond in a negative, nasty way, right? One of the best ways to get there, the fastest medium, is to look at people and find things about them that you do like. You know, to find things that are not necessarily negative, but what is positive about this person. What's one good thing about this person that I, you know, can see in them? And that's often hard, you know, but unless somebody's like a serial killer, I think that we could probably find one good thing about us, about most people, okay? About most people. Now, there are exceptions to that rule, you know, obviously, but I think to like people that we interact with on a daily basis, whether it's our family or, you know, friends, or maybe in our friend group there's one person that rubs us the wrong way, or maybe it's people on social media, or maybe it's a coworker or whatever, you know, to maybe instead, if it's somebody that really like seems to just push our buttons, to maybe look at them in a different kind of way and say, what's something I like about this person? What's one thing I could compliment them about? Instead of always seeing it as negative, you know? I don't know, I think it's a good lesson and it's something good for me to always remember. Okay, let's pick out the next. Do a little shuffling here of books and see what's next. Okay, Melody Beattie, Journey to the Heart. Let's see. Did you hear that wind outside? It's beautiful, isn't it? How do you sit out here? Like sometimes I just come out here and I sit and like drink my coffee or whatever, and it's just like, it brings me so much peace to just sit in all of this. I love it, you know? September 19th, weather the storm. Storms come, the lightning flashes, thunder rolls. Sometimes the hail pounds so loudly and incessantly it becomes frightening. Sometimes storms do damage, but storms are not forever. Just as nature plays out her storms, sometimes with violence, sometimes with gray days, sometimes with a gentle cleansing rain, we have storms in our lives, storms in our soul. Storms are part of life, part of growth, part of the journey. Light a candle, wrap up warmly, make yourself safe and secure, then wait for the storm to pass, knowing it will. Let peace return, let security return, let joy and meaning come back. The certain faith that you have purpose and your life is on track. I love that meditation. So there's this little analogy that I have used in my life. My leg is like falling asleep, hold on. There's this little analogy that I've used in my life. And I share it with people, meetings and things like that, and I think it's funny, but have you ever taken a road trip? Okay, so if you think about in life, right, that we're on this road, we're on a road trip somewhere in life, right? And we have a destination that we're going to. We don't always necessarily know the destination that we're going to, but we know that we're going into a certain direction. And my husband just sat down with the biggest plate of pizza rolls and waffle fries in the world. Anyway, but we don't often know the direction that we're going in, right? So we're on this road trip, and, you know, we're going and we're excited, and sometimes, you know, like, we're just, like, sitting there talking and listening to music and whatever. Have you ever been on a road trip, and in the distance, you'll see, like, black clouds, and you see, like, this, I mean, it's literally, like, bright sunshine and blue skies, and then black clouds, and you're like, oh my God, there is a horrible storm coming ahead, right? When my mom passed, I used this analogy a lot with myself. And so you're like, I don't want to go through this storm. I can't weather this storm. I can't make it through. And I think for many of us, we see this, whether it's like a breakup or going through a divorce or going through like a passing or changing jobs, moving towns, you know, getting a new place, leaving a house that we've been in most of our lives, things like that. I think that's actually a really, really big one, you know, is moving out of someplace that we've lived for a long time. And we see this storm in the distance and we're like, I can't do this. I'm not going to make it. If you've ever gone through something in your life that you think to yourself, I can't make it through this, I'm not going to be able to make it through this, use this analogy. So you get closer and closer to the storm, right? And it's starting to rain a little bit, it's starting to drizzle, and you see people pulling off on exits. They're like pulling off, or they're sitting underneath the underpass because they're like, I can't weather the storm. So they're like kind of pulling off, and you think to yourself, should I get off? Should I keep on going? Should I try to white knuckle it? What should I do? And the storm comes closer and comes closer and comes closer, and it starts affecting you more because it's starting to rain harder on your car. Like in your life, these things, as they come closer to us, whether it's a divorce or, you know, breakup or a new job or whatever, it starts affecting us more, personally and emotionally, spiritually, physically even sometimes. And so, you know, we're going through this, it's coming closer, and then we're like, okay, I'm just gonna go through it. And we like literally white knuckle it. And, you know, sometimes it's 5 minutes of a storm that feels like it was like 2 hours. Sometimes it is 2 hours, sometimes it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, right? And you go through the storm, and the entire time that you're getting hit with, you know, hail and your car, because you are going to maybe have some damage as a result of this on the other side, you know? And some wounds, that you turn your wounds into wisdom later. But, you know, as you're going through this, you're like literally like, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. And you're like just going ahead, and you're just like focused on the road, and you see all these people pull off the side, and you're just going, and you're going, and you're going. And then you get through the storm, right? And on the other side of the storm, you look in the rearview mirror and you see it, but ahead of you is all blue skies. Now, I've been there in my life, right? Like, I've been to that point where I've made it through the storm, I've weathered the storm that I thought I couldn't. Like, when it was happening to me, like, that's that moment, like, you know, Maya Angelou says, when you're going through the worst tragedy of your entire life, look up and say thank you, because you're about to learn a very valuable lesson. This too shall pass. You will make it through whatever hardship you're going through right now. It just doesn't seem like it. You will at the time. And then when you make it through it, you're stronger on the other side, you know, because what you realize is I can make it through that. I did do that. It's very similar to, you know, like, and then you got to remember to always look in the rearview mirror, what was behind you and what's ahead, right? Because there's always good things ahead for us. And there's going to probably be a few bad things. There's going to probably be more storms ahead that we're going to have to weather. But next time we go through it, we'll remember the last storm, and we'll remember, hey, I made it through the last one, you know? I think it's very much to, like, have you ever, like, bought something, like, at IKEA or Target, like, something you have to put together, like a table? And you're like, oh, I can't do this, right? I can't do this. And then you sit down and you put this bookshelf or table together, and at the very end, you're like really proud of yourself. I put this little patio table together this year from IKEA, right? I went and I bought it. It was like this, my cousin had a table similar to it. It's like this $20 patio table. It was like really simple, but I'm like an idiot when it comes to directions and stuff like that, right? And so I sat here right on the floor right over here one night, and I think I talked about it on my vlog, and I put this table together, and when it was done, I was so proud of myself. I was like, oh my God, I did this. I can't believe I did it. And the next time that I go to buy something, because I weathered that storm, I got through it, you know, the next time that I go to buy something, I'll remember that, and I'll think to myself, you know what, you did okay the last time, you can do this again. And I think we have to remember that. I think we have to remember the storms that we've weathered before so that we can get through the next one. That's a great meditation. Okay, let's do meditations for living in peace. Let's see what they've been talking. Who's it? Ann Wilson Chef. Let's see what she's been talking about the last couple days. Those last two are from the 19th, so this will be funny if this next one's from the 19th too. There's two really good ones in here. There's like three really good ones in here. Let me just kind of read these, and I'll just tell you what I think about them. This is not going to probably be long. Leaving victim, September 18th. I bid on a job, September 18th, leaving victim. I bid on a job that I don't have the personnel or the equipment to handle. When I got the contract, I unconsciously hired people who were not adequate for the job and ended up having to do all the work myself. Peter. I don't know who Peter is. Not me. Not me. Frequently, we wake up in the middle of a mess and wonder how in the world we got there. All too often, we have put ourselves squarely in the middle, and we had absolutely no clue that we were doing it when we were doing it. Unfortunately, most of us have learned to look outside ourselves to identify the source of the problems. We spend a lot of time and energy preparing the way to become a victim. Of course, there's no denying that others do things we don't like, things that may even be harmful to us. We have very little control over what others do and say, and we need to learn this lesson early and well. We also need to break away from popular assumptions and interpretations about our problems being out there. When we believe we are a victim, we give our power away. When we believe we are a victim, we give our power away, resenting those who supposedly take it. We then become perpetrators. Whatever the mess is, when we can sit down and carefully look at our contribution to it, we start regaining our power. When you find yourself in the middle of a mess, sit down and examine your role in it. You'll feel better. I love this line. Whatever the mess is, when we can sit down and carefully look at our contribution to it, we start regaining our power. I don't truly think that anybody sits down and says to themselves, I want to be a victim. I don't really believe that, right? And if you ever see somebody victimizing themselves and then you say, you're victimizing yourself, no, I'm not. You don't know what I went through. You don't know what they did to me, blah, 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 blah. Further victimizing themselves, right? I don't really care if people victimize themselves. It doesn't make me think of them any differently. It makes me sad for them. Having been somebody that used to victimize myself on a regular basis, I mean, I've done it as recently as a year ago, you know? I had to really take a look, and one of the greatest things that ever happened to me was, you know, I changed my sponsor a couple years ago, and I have this amazing woman today that every single time I bring something to her, the first thing she says to me is, this is an opportunity for growth. The second thing she says to me is, what's your part in it? And I have to take a look at that every single time, right? And if I'm resistant to it, she's like, are you going to tell me no? So, you know, that's the process for me, is to take a look at things, right? Here's the thing. When I look at a situation where I have victimized myself, and I feel like I've been done wrong, and I want to tell on somebody. I think we've all been there, where you want to tell on somebody. You want somebody to know exactly what you went through, right? It's like that old analogy, though. Like, if you're pointing your finger at somebody else, there's 3 fingers pointing back at you. And, you know, what is, you know, all this? There have been situations in my life that I have chosen to stay silent because I needed to take a look more at my part than take a look at other people's parts. It's real easy, okay, to point out other people's flaws and parts in situations instead of sitting there and taking responsibility for your own. It's really, really easy to do. But then what you do is you know, perpetuate that cycle of victimization over and over and over again. These people hate me. These people are screwing me over. This person did me wrong. This person did me wrong. And you never grow from it. I want to grow as a human being. I don't want to be stuck in that. I don't want to be a victim. But I have been, and I've put myself in that role. I am not talking in this situation about really hardcore situations, okay? Like situations that you should probably seek professional help for. I'm not talking about extremist situations like that. I'm talking about run-of-the-mill things where we get into fights with people, or we are, you know, have a breakup or whatever, right? Even in a job situation, things like that, where we really feel like we've been done wrong. Many times we have been done wrong, right? But what's the point in perpetuating that by making ourselves feel a victim? We don't learn anything about it. We can't control other people and other situations, and the quicker that we get that into our head and realize that, the quicker the growth starts to occur within us, right? So in any situation that happens, this is why today I try my hardest to not react and respond and go, if it's a situation where I feel like I want to tell on somebody, or go, you don't know, or let me tell you what I went through, or whatever, hit the pause button, call my sponsor, talk to my husband, talk to my best friend, figure out how I want to react or respond to the situation, and then I take a look at my part in it. You know, what is my part in this? What can I fix? What can I do differently in the future? I can't fix everything, but I can take responsibility for my part, and I can stop victimizing myself. And that is a huge thing that I can do, you know? It's a huge, huge thing. I talk a lot about, like, you know, in my life today, I'm just trying to stay in my lane, you know, in all areas of my life. And, you know, it's interesting, like, when you're in your own lane, if you think about driving literally in a car in your own lane, right? I was talking about this on my vlog one night, and it's like, you're looking at yourself forward, you're looking at what's going on, but you still have to kind of look at what's going on around you, right? Like, cause if the car next to you swerves over, you have to swerve over too, right? You can't control what they're doing, but you can control your reaction to it. So we have to be aware of all of that's going on around us, right? But we don't have to become consumed with it. And I think that, you know, it's sometimes just being focused on what can I do about me today, and what is my end goal result? Like, what do I really want? Well, I really want is to be the happiest human being that I can be, possibly, the most content, have the happiest relationships, and grow as a person. If I want all that in my life, then I have to take a look at what I can change about me. Because see, I'm saying my life. I'm not saying your life, or her life, or Sally Joe's life, or Judy Sue's life. I'm talking about my life. Why would I want to focus on what Sally Joe needs to do if I want to focus on what I want to change within me and have the best life I can, right? So if I want to have the best life, I need to stop focusing on Sally Joe and focus on me. And when I start focusing on me and working on me, that's when things start changing with me. So that's a great meditation. What was the next one? I wanted to read the next one too. Okay, my battery died. That's like the second time in 2 different videos that's happened today. I keep on like taking my battery out and charging it and then like bringing it out. So September 21st, I'm gonna start the meditation over. September 21st, everydayness. Zen is not some kind of excitement, but concentration on our usual everyday routine. Suzuki. When we seek enlightenment and balance, we must look to the ordinary. It is the awareness of our presence in every little thing that we do that brings balance. Life lived with one constant adrenaline high after another is exhausting and unreal. To approach the depth of life, one must be immersed in it. Only in our full participation in the little things can we hope to approach the infinite. No task is too small. One is just as likely to encounter the infinite while cleaning out the refrigerator as while sitting in a monastery meditating. Our presence and participation are what make the difference. All too often, we go for the adrenaline high to give us the illusion that we are alive and experiencing something meaningful. Whether it is at work, in sports, or in romance, the adrenaline high is the illusion. Reality is found in the everyday routine of life. Practice being present in one activity today, such as cooking, cleaning, or doing the dishes. Oh my God, I love that meditation. Okay, you know, it's interesting when we talk about that adrenaline high. I think about the adrenaline high that I, used to get from all kinds of different things. And, and one of the things that, since I talk about it, my leg is completely asleep. One of the things that, I used to get an adrenaline high from it was participation in toxicity and chaos, right? And I don't do that today. So I find myself having a lot of moments where I'm like, I remember like cleaning the kitchen. I love cleaning the kitchen. I don't know why I love cleaning the kitchen. I know it's corny, but when I was growing up, my mom loved cleaning the kitchen. We had a very nice dishwasher when I was growing up, but my mom loved to do dishes by hand. She found it really, really peaceful. It was something that she grew up doing. When she was growing up, she would wash the dishes and my aunt would dry them. And when she lived in her first apartment with my Aunt Susie, who was like her sorority sister, she would, wash the dishes and Susie would dry them. And it was like something that they always talked about. And when I was growing up, like I would wash the dishes and my mom would dry them. And so today, I find like some peace and serenity in like the washing of dishes, or, I wash it. We use a dishwasher, but like I always wash the dishes off first, and, or just cleaning the kitchen and like finding that area. It's very peaceful to me. It's also very peaceful to do that for me with nothing on in the background, with just like silence. I really enjoy silence a lot today, I have found. And the other thing I want to say about this is, I love the idea of the counterbalance between like kind of like Zen kind of idea, and I've said this a lot in a lot of videos, is that I really believe that it's, the bitter and the sweet in life. And we can't live a life of like all highs. Like we can't just have like all positives all the time. Like if we didn't have some lows, we wouldn't know what those highs felt like. Does that make sense? And so when we're going through life, there's going to be down days, there's going to be great days, there's going to be in-between days, and that is kind of what life is all about. It's about all of that. It's about the good days and the bad days and the in-betweens, and the realizing that better days are yet to come, right? And when bad days come, we're better equipped because of the work that we've done, by working on ourselves and taking inventory and working on those things that we need to do, like we're working on our character defects and, things like that, and building up tools of serenity and peace and compassion and kindness and love. And I think that, for me, I have to look at life that way. I have to realize there are going to be some great days, there are going to be some not so great days. And the sooner that I accepted that in my life, the more equipped I was to live a life of reality, the more I was in reality, instead of always comparing my life to somebody else's. Well, why does my life look like this, but this is what they have? Why do they have this? Whatever. And I don't know about you. My friend said to me, like you always lose by comparison. But the thing is that, I never compare down. I always compare up. I don't know about you, but I always do that. Oh, this person has a much better life than me. This person this person that, I choose not to do that anymore. I choose to realize that the journey that I'm on is my journey. And the thing is that for a while, that was kind of like a long process for me to get to realize that my journey is my journey, and your journey is your journey, and her journey is her journey, and his journey is his journey. And that took me a while to get to the point where I really understood that. But then what happened was, I still compared journeys, but now I'm at a point where I'm like really excited about my journey, right? Like this is my journey. This is my individual journey, and I am presented every single day with different lessons than her or him or you. I'm presented different lessons than you are, and it's like we're all in this huge school, and we're all in like an independent learning thing. We're all in independent classes that we've come up with our own, kind of like what we're going to study for the class. Does that make sense? Oh, my coffee's spilling. And it's really cool when you look at life like that, right? So it doesn't matter what somebody else's journey is. It doesn't matter what they're learning, right? Like, it matters what my journey is. And then what happens over time is that you get excited about your own journey and your own life, and you stop comparing yourself to other people. And what you realize is that you learn just as much from those bitter, hard days as you do to the sweet, wonderful days. And that's all part of the journey, right? And it's fantastic. And once I was able to accept that and see it in my life, then I was able to get excited about the journey, you know? I was able to get excited about my own life again and get passionate about what was going on in my life, you know? So anyway, those were some fun meditations to read, some great meditations today. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let me know if you like it outside when I sit outside, and I'll try to do more of these out here. Hopefully that my legs won't fall asleep because I sit on the ground too long. Anyway, I love you guys, and I hope you're having a fantastic weekend, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.